yogis. Today we're going to do a flow class, and I'm really focusing this flow on a lot of twisting movements, repetitive movements, and things that are going to just feel particularly good for me right now because I've been doing a lot of upper body strength, and my chest, shoulders, underarms, triceps are all very sore. So no chaturangas, really very little weight on the hands in this one, but just stuff that I think is gonna, move things around in there and feel good for me and hopefully for you guys too. And so we're gonna start at the back of the mat. So coming into all fours position, first we're just gonna warm up some stuff around the torso. So hands lined up with your shoulders over your wrists, your hips over your knees. And we'll just start first getting some movement in the sides of the body. So you're gonna wag your tail, your tail's gonna bite to the right hip towards your right shoulder, look over your right shoulder. And then wag left, look over your left shoulder. So you're shortening that side of the body when you do it, right and left at your own pace. Doesn't have to be anything huge, particularly if you have a sensitive neck. Be aware, you don't need to make this big look over your shoulder. It might be just a very slight glance in that direction. Just trying to get some things warmed up. Also getting into good habits, make sure you're not really pressing into sinking into your shoulders. You're pressing away from the floor as you do these, keeping the shoulders nice and wide. And then when you're even, we're gonna come into some cat-cows. So first starting off with our cow, inhale, lift and arch your back. And then exhale and scooping around, tuck the tail wider and wider across your upper back. Inhale back to your cow, stretching out the front of your throat. Exhale, cat, stretching out the back of your neck. Couple more at your own pace. When you lift up into your cat, see if you can even feel a little lift up into your armpits. They're kind of scooping out more. And then once you're even again, we'll come back into our cow. We're going to put those movements together, which might be a little uncoordinated at first, but and it also doesn't have to be huge about the neck, so just modify that as much as you need. So starting off in our cow position, and then we'll wag right, so slightly looking right, and scoop the belly, coming into cat. Wag left, slight look left, and back up into your cow. Let's try that in the opposite direction. Cow, wag left, look left, scoop belly, tuck into cat. Wag right, look right. And then forward into your cow. Let's try one more round of that. This pace, cow, wag right, scoop into your cat, wag left, and back up to cow, wag left, scoop belly, cat, wag right, and then back up into cow. And then take a couple of those, right, left, whichever way feels good, or both, and just at your own pace. Less movement of the neck, just kind of getting more rolling through your ribcage. So you should feel like you're stretching the front, the back, and the sides of your ribcage. And if you feel like there's any one place that needs a little bit more time, that's where you linger. So maybe, I feel like I really need it in this, spot in my upper arm, so I'm gonna linger over on this spot for a little bit longer. Or I feel like, I really need it in this mid-back, so I'm gonna linger there a little bit longer, right? This practice is about providing therapy for yourself. So as I go through, there's gonna be stuff I'm gonna do that won't make sense for you. So modify things as you need, take your own instinctual movements that feel right, and it should be somewhat playful. Not gonna hold things still for a long time. Make sure you feel like you're even. And then come to the back of your mat, if you're not already at the back of your mat. So we're going to just do a little bit of movement to warm up the lower body and the hips. So if you have sensitive knees, you might need to lay a blanket down or give yourself a little bit more padding. If things are just tight, you could theoretically have your hands on blocks and just stay in one place and do it instead of creating the movement. Let's see how it goes, right? The nice thing about home is you can stop and adjust and come back when you're ready. You can go have a cookie, you know, if you need the motivation, I'm gonna get a cookie and then I'll do it, you know, whatever you need to do. So some people might like to really like reach their arms forward in these. Some people might keep their hands closer. Just see what works for you. We're gonna start at the back of the mat. And you can come flat palm or tent up your hands. I'm going to go tented and further forward to help you see the movement first. I'm going to lift my right knee up off the floor. And then I'm going to reach my leg over my other leg so that my right knee is now stacked in front of my left knee. And then I'll do the same thing. I'm going to shift weight into that leg and bring the left leg up and try to scoop it and bring the knee over the knee. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of that scooping, that cat kind of sensation to get this space, to create the space to move the knee in front of the knee. And just going at your own pace up the mat. Knee in front of knee. When you get to the top of your mat, reverse it. So now the movement of the hip will be a little different. It can be really small, but you can also kind of exaggerate it if it feels good. Knee behind knee. Towards the back of your mat. And then once you get to the back, we'll do one more time, forward and back. So again, reach your arms forward as much as you need, scooping the leg up. If this is really, you know, there's a lot of like dragging of the edge of your foot, really tough, you know, then great, you need it. So do a couple, do what you can, try to find that pulling in through your belly that's going to really help and make a big difference. If you're someone who has a hard time setting their foot down as you go into your, as you set up when you're doing vinyasa, like you're bringing your leg forward, this kind of movement will help. All right, when we get to the top of your mat again, or whenever your left knee is in front, we're going to sit back. This is my tighter hip, so there's not going to be a lot of sitting back. It's kind of like cow face. You don't need to like send the heels out far, just whatever feels good for you to stretch back, and then a little wagging of the tail. So, not strictly necessary, but that might help stretch out the hips a little bit more, so if it feels good, wag your tail. And maybe this is a nice stretch to the chest and the shoulders too. And then come back up and we'll traverse our way back down the mat. Again, maybe as you're going, there's like one spot as you bring your leg back that's like, oh yeah, that's the spot. You can stay there a moment longer. You can start your wagging a little earlier. See how that feels, you know. Just let this be about stretching where you need it. And then when you get to the back of your mat, or when your right knee is in front, same thing. Reach your hips back or stretch your arms forward or find a combination of the two. Feels good. Option to wag your tail. I don't want to do that forever, but I have to get into the rest of the yoga. So coming back, just release that knee back into an all fours position. You can walk your hands a little forward as needed. Tuck your toes. One down facing dog. And then just take a little bit of the stepping right and left. So normally when people are doing this at the beginning of their vinyasa practice, it's to stretch out the hamstrings. Hamstrings are often tight. But this can also be this kind of like lifting up from your hips. So lifting up through your low belly, which is such a valuable thing if you can get that. Help tell you where you need to be in your down dog. Tapping into the lower abdominal muscles to help you lift right and left. You should also feel this a lot in your outer hip because those muscles are helping you lift off too. And then we'll hold our feet, walk the hands back. And from this position, again, heel toe your feet in. Maybe bend your knees a little bit. Arms come back. And you come up to mountain pose. Arms down by your side. All right, I'm going to start this facing you guys, but you can stay at the top or back of your mat. And so starting off, bring your arms back up over your head. And I'm going to take my right hand and my left hand, I'm going to crisscross so that the back of the hand is to the back of the hand. It's totally optional. This feels really good for me. If you don't want that or that does not make any sense for you at all, you can interlace your fingers and bring your hands to the back of your head. Press back into your hands slightly with your head so you keep your neck long. Or also, you can hold onto your elbows. These are all fine options. So we're going to take the right foot and step it over the left foot. So it's just slightly in front of the other foot, but squeezing in, drawing it. I'm squeezing in through my inner thighs for stability in my low body. And then I'll bring my body over towards the right. So side body stretch, but even more for the chest, I'm going to take little scoops of my right armpit forward. So I'm just going to scoop it forward about 5 or 6 times. Nothing huge, but again, if you have some tightness going on in your chest, armpit area, that'll feel really good. And then come back up. And we'll switch to the other side. So step your right foot back, send your left foot in front, switch opposite forearm or hand on top. Body comes over to the left. Make sure the arms are framing your head, so whatever version you're doing, you feel like your one arm isn't super close with the other arm further away. Little scoops of your left armpit, just drawing more space into that right side body. And then we'll come back up to the center. I'm going to bring my feet hip width distance for the back bend. And for this back bend, I'm going to lower my arms so that my elbows are in line with my shoulders. I still have the crisscross back of hand to back of hand. And lift up for a back bend. Pressing my elbows away from my chest. Then you stretch the front of your hips, strong glutes. Let your belly stretch. And come back up. From here, we're going into Malasana. So just turn the toes out, palm to palm, and sit your hips low, lift your chest. Press your palms into each other, press your elbows towards your legs. Make sure no tension in your neck, so you can do a little right and left if you need to. I used to get so upset when I would take a vinyasa class and teacher would do Malasana towards the beginning of class. I just thought that was the cruelest thing ever. So if you're at a place where Malasana is a really cruel option at the beginning of class or any time in class, feel free to take this as a squat. Don't go down all the way. Like, find the place that makes sense for you. And we'll do it a few times. So maybe you start higher up, and then as you go, you're ready to get deeper into the Malasana. Bring your hands forward, and we'll heel toe the feet in. And then from this position, forward fold option, you can hold on to the elbows. So bend your knees as much as you need to. Wrap around the back of your knees. You can also hold onto your wrists or your forearms. And then from there, with your upper body connected to your lower body, just lift up. So see how close you can keep that, even if your knees stay pretty bent. Allowing yourself to fold from your hips and getting a little different opening. So you're still rolling your shoulders back, pressing your chest forward. And then release out of it. Take a halfway lift, so you're giving yourself some space there at the hip folds, some space at your throat, some space along your chest and your shoulders, your upper back, and all the way up. Okay, we're going to do that a couple more times. This time we'll start with the left foot in front. So find your arm position. And the left leg goes in front, still inner thighs squeezing in. Lift tall, bring your body over to the left. Option to pulse forward with your left armpit. So it's a small movement, it's not a back bend. It's allowing me to feel that stretch up into my right armpit and around my right upper arm. And also to feel longer from my left armpit to my right hip. Back up to the center, left foot back, right foot comes in front. Again, crisscross the opposite forearm or arm in front. Bring your body over towards the right. Maybe you're taking that pulse. If that pulse doesn't make sense to you, you can stay still. We do another small repetitive movement that helps you open where you need to in this posture. So it could be a pulse down into the oblique. And then back up to the center. Feet about hip width distance. I'm going to lower my elbows in line with my shoulders. I'm still pressing forward through my hands. Lift up through the elbows, belly in. And then let your belly soften as you start to get deeper into your back bend. And come back up. Hands to prayer. Feet turn out, knees track over ankles. Malasana squat. And try to feel like you're lifting away from the front creases of your hips, even as you sit down super low. A sensation of creating space. It should feel like the halfway lift in your chest, in your hips, and even your neck, which is why be careful when you feel a lot of tension in your neck in Malasana. And we'll go through that again. So, hands to the floor, heel toe the feet in. Again, you can hold on, wrapping your arms behind the back of your knees, and start to use that to sit yourself in close and lift your hips up. Sit bones towards the ceiling, shoulders away from your ears, fold forward. And then again, halfway lift, create the space through the front of your body. If it feels good for you, especially with the hip movements here, every time when you come up, you can do that, bending your knees, reaching your arms back, and then lifting up. That's a very intuitive movement for a lot of people. Okay, one more or two more sets. Let's get back to the right foot in front, finding your arm position, lift, body to the right, still squeezing into the lower half of your body. If you like those little rotations forward, And we'll see, I'm feeling this is a big stretch in my left ribs as well. And then back up to the center. Switch the right leg back, left leg comes forward. Switch the arms, lift, bring your body over to the left, take that movement. Should be very small. Chin stays off chest. And then back up to the center, feet about hip width distance. I'm going to lower my elbows, don't need to go all the way down, just kind of playing with that. Do this one, get this view if you want it. And you can do any other arm variation too. I'm just playing with this because this feels kind of good for me right now. You can go to full eagle if you want to. And bending your knees if you want in your back bend, just allow yourself to feel some movement here, upper mid-back. Come back up. Feet turn out. Hands come into prayer. Sit low, extend your elbows out, try to lengthen your spine and create space to the front body. And then hands to the floor. Heel toe your feet in. And if you'd like to try something slightly different, you can keep your feet about hip width distance and not very far. And basically, I'm going to take my arms actually and wrap them around from the outside and then crisscross. So from the front, it looks like this. My hands at my shins. Sometimes called an infinity grip. Folding forward. You have to remember, my right hand is the top hand. And then, again, bring the feet in, halfway lift. Fold in, bend your knees, reach your arms back. So I'm kind of rolling the heads of my shoulders back. And then lift up. Now one more set. So find your hand position. Left leg will be the front leg to begin with on this one. Bring your body to the left. Little pulses forward. Back to center. Send the opposite leg in front, right leg in front. Adjust your hands. Bring your body over to the right. Take that little scooping movement forward. And then back up to the center. Do it this way in this set. So feet about hip width or wider. Bring your arms in a position where you can start to feel something working in your back that's new or different or just interesting. And then lift and take your back bend. Inhale, come back up. And turn the toes out, come into your Malasana squat. Lift up as tall as you can, try to roll the shoulders back. And then hands to the floor. Feet can stay. You can go all the way, you can do the wraparound, or if you like that infinity, do it with the opposite hand on top. So for me, that was the left hand this side. So wrapping from the outside, feet stay about hip width distance, maybe a little smaller than that, and then fold in. And then heel toe the feet, take your halfway lift. Bend your knees, reach your arms back, roll the heads of the shoulders back, and come up tall. And bring your arms down by your side. Okay, we're going to start going through another flow, and you might want blocks. So blocks at the top of your mat, right and left. If you have a hard time bringing your hand flat to the floor, like in, we're going to do a version of extended side angle, you might want a block there. Not, crucial, but you might want it. I think I'll start facing this direction, but I'll just start at the top of your mat. So I'm going to sit the hips low, touch your fingertips, and come up into a chair position. From chair position, scoop your belly, pull the front of the ribs in, send your tail down, lift your chest, and then cactus your arms. So drawing into your inner thighs or inner ankles. As we cactus the arms, draw your shoulder blades down and squeeze in through your shoulder blades. And we're going to really try to keep this so that my elbow is in line with the right side of my body and my left elbow is in line with the left side of my body. And I'm going to straighten my arms, keep the arms there, straighten my legs, keep the arms there. Right leg comes up, one leg mountain, flex your right foot, lift from your low belly, and then twist to the right. So as you twist to the right, trying to keep that same sensation of your right elbows in line with your right side body and left with the left side body. So you're twisting through your side body, not cheating by just bringing your arms closer to each other. See how much you can get. That same sensation right of the armpit really getting it stretched, like in the version we did of half moon. And then come back to center. From here, you can bring your hands to your hips if you want help with the balance. If you don't need that, arms can just go straight up. Heel towards your right butt, and just step it back. So the closer you can bring your heel towards your butt, the easier it is to find your alignment, to send it back, bend into your front leg, and send yourself all the way into a crescent lunge. Left thigh is close to parallel to the floor, so if you need to adjust, you can adjust. Lift up out of your low belly, getting long through the sides of your body. If possible, your arms are in line with your ears, back of your head's in line with your sacrum, your low back. And from this position, we're just going to roll out into a warrior two. So rolling into the edge of your back foot, your right foot, chest opening wide across your chest and your shoulders. Look over your left fingertips, roll the left upper thigh out, and press to the outer edge of your right foot. We're going to take a kind of weird variation on an extended side angle. So we'll start like a Bikram style triangle, bending into the front leg. Arms come stacked up, one on top of the other with your elbow towards your knee. And you can stay right here. If you want to try this weird version, I'm going to turn my hand so that my fingers are facing, my left fingers are facing my right foot, and bring my whole hand down, reach my arm up. So if that is too much for you, if you feel like you're sinking or your shoulder can't handle it, then stay more lifted or use a block. Otherwise, this is just a really intense movement through the upper back and the shoulder and left side of my chest. It's helping me bring my body even more forward, even as I go low. And then we'll pop back up. Left arm, the front arm is going to go underneath for eagle arms. So create your eagle arms. And then from this position, we're going to move gradually. So first, I'm going to just roll my right hip forward. That should be enough to set me up like I'm a warrior one. So I'm rolling my right hip and my right butt forward towards a warrior one. Send your left hip back. Then I'm going to add the foot. I'm going to roll up onto the ball of my right foot. So now I'm back into that crescent lunge position with the eagle arms. Then from that position, pressing back, rolling the inner thigh of my right leg back, I'll bring my chest forward and take a twist to the left. So just like a prayer twist, but with eagle arms. So just kind of forcing you to get lower and longer. But modify as needed. Any twist would be good here. You can open the arms and reach and stack the arms. And then this is where the balance is going to get a little tricky. Bring your hands forward to frame your front foot. And the option here, since we did it before, to get comfortable with it, is to grab your elbows or grab somewhere behind your knee and just pop right into a standing splits. If that is terrifying, you can bring your hands to the floor, shorten your stance, and take a version of that in a pyramid pose. If you're like, oh yeah, I want that, I want to go right into those standing splits, you're going to basically make sure your hip is over your foot. If your hip is over your foot where you can use that, then you can press off and probably be pretty safe, pressing off and lifting up. And the fun will be coming out too. So the fun coming out is to come out with control, to bring your right knee towards your left knee, and then set the leg down, heel toe the left foot out, Malasana. Lift your chest. And bring your hands to the floor in front of you. Walk your feet back about hip width distance apart now, toes forward. And take a version of forward fold. I think I'm going to do something called gorilla pose for probably all of these. So if you're doing a lot of stuff with you where you're using weight in your hands, this stretch for your wrists should feel amazing, and you can, bring your toes all the way up to your wrists, and then you can kind of wiggle out your toes and give your wrists a really fabulous stretch. Squeezing with the toes. I could do this all day, so. Any forward fold will do. And then hands back forward in front of you. Bend your knees, reach your arms back, so we're scooping the belly under, getting that space in the front of the hip, and come all the way up tall. Every time you come up, you can take any little back bend that you like. It might be a very, very small back bend. I'm going to keep with these kind of arms forward. I'm going to touch my thumbs right up to my hairline and take a little lift here. It feels different than before because I had my legs wider before. Now feet are together. And then come back to center. Send your hips low. And reach your arms up. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So find your cactus arms. Pull your shoulders down. Sometimes called goal post. Your arms are like 90-degree angles. And then this time we'll lift the left leg up. So coming into standing, flex your left toes, lift your left side low belly. And we'll take a twist over towards the left. Trying to keep the elbows wide. Not back bend, but not letting the arms sneak in closer. So you really are turning through your whole torso. Strong through your right glute. Everything wrapping around your ribcage. Kind of like the pulses we did at the beginning of class. And then come back to center. Again, you always have the option to bring your hands to your hips or slow this down. As you can reach your arms up, send your heel towards your butt. And then start to send your leg back, bend into your front leg, and set it down. If you need to adjust wider or further, find your crescent lunge. It feels good for you. Pulling the front hip slightly back hip slightly forward, and drawing that space up away from your waistline, getting longer through the sides of your body. We'll roll out into our warrior two, so rolling into the edge of your left foot. Right thigh towards parallel. Reach out through both arms, looking over your right shoulder and broadening through your hips. So squeeze your glutes and feel your right upper thigh rolling out. We're going to take that weird version of our extended side angle. So you can come into it like a Bikram triangle, you can stay in it like a Bikram triangle, or you can reach your right fingertips back towards your left foot and then lift up. So it's going to cause a little bit more opening there to your chest. And then come back up. Now the right arm's the bottom arm for the eagle arm. So find your eagle arms. Roll your chest forward. Rolling your left hip forward. This is my tighter hip, so I feel kind of stuck. So if you feel kind of stuck, just finding where as far forward as you can go before you move the foot, or maybe you need to adjust slightly through the walking the foot so you can get more movement without just cranking into your ankle. And then roll onto the ball of that foot so you can bring that whole glute around so the glutes are lined up. So you're back into your crescent lunge, elbows in line with your shoulders. Bring your chest forward. The more you can reach forward, the more successful this will be. And twisting towards the right now. You can always take a prayer twist or any other twist. Just allowing yourself to get longer through the body and open the chest. Let your arms reach out. And then from this position, we'll frame our front foot again. Take whatever variation you took on the other side. If you're confident, you can bring your hip over your right foot and lift off. You can bring your weight forward and take a lift off to a standing split. Any hamstring stretch, any lengthening position. Left knee towards right. Send that foot down and come into your Malasana squat. And then hands to the floor. Walk the feet in about hip width distance. If you like to grab the big toes into that fold, you can. I am going back into the gorilla. If you're very comfortable in gorilla, you can also try balancing with your heels up off the floor, which creates a huge amount of stretch in the front arch of your foot, so to me feels amazing. But it's a little terrifying too, so, take it as you need. Maybe do one at a time, playing with lifting your heel up, see what that feels like. Get as much as you can from the low belly too, let that help you. And then we'll move through this another time. So, bring your hands forward. Heel to the feet in, bend your knees, scooping, arms back, up, tall, tall, tall. Take any version of the back bend that feels good. I'm going back to the thumbs at the forehead, lifting my chest, stretching out through the front of the hips here. So it's a big opportunity in the back bend, whatever your back bend looks like. And then back to center, hips low, hands frame the front foot. Our front feet and come up into chair pose. Roll the shoulder heads back into the socket, slightly turning in with your arms, just like when you're in down dog. You're rolling and wrapping into your arms. And then come into your cactus arms and stand up in your standing left leg. Right leg comes up. One leg mountain. Take your twist to the right. Use the low belly. Pull in, twist deeper. Come back to center. Arms come up. Use your hands as much or as little as you need. Try to step back. The first time I didn't go quite far enough, so you really get long. Reach back. Go slow motion. And find your crescent lunge. High on the ball mount of your back foot. Roll that right glute forward so the glutes are lined up again. One breath here. Even though your arms are reaching up, your shoulders are not in the ears. Shoulders are down. And then roll into your warrior two. So rolling out through the back foot, but if your knee kind of did what I did and rolled in, see if you can roll that back out from the thigh, not just cranking the knee back. So you feel more open in that left inner thigh. And your version, extended side angle. So going into a triangle, or maybe you can get the palm reaching back. Feel that deeper twist in the shoulder and the muscles in your arm, which feels really good if you've been doing a lot of arm balancing, or feels good for me anyway. And come up. Front arm's the bottom arm, eagle arms. And we're going to again roll our chest forward, roll the hip forward, see what you can do. Maybe you need to scoot the foot in. The stance could be a little bit shorter to help you rotate the hip. And then roll onto the big toe or the ball mound of your foot. Keep rolling in through that back hip. And we'll take the twist to the side. Open up your arms. Keep drawing in through your inner thighs, just that same sensation created right in that first movement in the side bend. Zipping up with the legs. And then frame your front foot. Find your hand position. Shift your weight forward. Press through that leg. See if you can lift off into your standing splits. The closer you are, your upper body towards your thigh, the more weight, the harder it's going to be. Bring your knee down. Walk your feet out. Come into your Malasana. And then bring the hands forward, feet about hip width. Any forward fold that feels good. You gotta shake things up. Get a big toe hold. I'm still gonna use this to really bring my feet away, or try to pull my feet away even as I'm pressing down through my big toes, so I feel that action in the front of the foot. And then coming forward, heel toe the feet in all the way. Create that lift, create that space. Bend your knees, arms back, and lift up. Take your version of a back bend. And back up to center. Send your hips low, reach through your fingertips, roll the shoulders back, lift your chest, pull the ribs in. This time the left leg lifts, so coming up to one leg, left leg up, cactus your arms, and twist to the left. Keeping that space wide across your chest. Even notice if your fingers start to come in. See if you can keep that space in your fingers as you twist deeper. Back to center, reach your arms up. Send your left leg back, coming into your crescent lunge. Again, go as slow-mo as you need, or make your adjustments. Find the space, lift away from your waist. Notice where you're holding weight in your right foot. Right? If it's all in the ball mound, if it's all in your heel, and to keep a little bit more activity, more even through the foot. And then we'll roll out into our warrior two. Your version of extended side angle. Again, I'm reaching my right fingertips back towards my left foot. Stacking everything up. I'm going to get as close and as long as I can through the right side of my body. So my right side body is close to my right thigh without sinking down, and I'm longer through that side of my torso. This does not feel like a strain at your wrist. You feel a stretch there, but not a strain. And then come back up. Create your eagle arms. Roll your hip forward. If that's not enough, walk your foot in a little closer. Roll the hip forward, lifting up for a warrior one with eagle arms. Then roll into the ball of your foot for a crescent with eagle arms. And reach forward and take your twist to the side with your eagle arms. You're going to keep the length in your neck. So the temptation here is to look back, and you can look back, but see if you can keep some space between your chin and your chest. And then open up your arms. I always want to dip in, so my heel, your left heel should be directly back or up to the ceiling. Notice if your heel starts to dip to the side. See if you can press the front of your foot forward and slide your pinky side towards your heel back slightly. Frame your front foot. Find your hand position. Again, the more your chest or the weight of your chest is on your thigh, the harder this will be. So find where you can still feel like you're lifting through your chest. And press. Oh, yeah. Leg's getting heavy after doing this a few times. Lift up into your standing splits or any version that's going to lengthen out the back of your leg. And then knee towards knee. Bring the leg out. Coming into a Malasana squat. You can lift your chest, try to press wider across your collarbones. And bring your hands forward, feet about hip width distance. Any version of the forward fold. Those can go out if you're doing the big toe grip. Or if you're doing the stepping on your hands, you can still bring your elbows out as much space as you have. Keep your knees as bent as you need to feel the stretch, the lengthening in your low back. And then heel toe in. Chest, collarbones, everything long, wide. Bend your knees, reach your arms back, come all the way up. And take a version of a back bend here. Coming back up. We're going to bring our hands to the floor and come all the way down to the belly. So we'll take a little backward bending, shoulder opening interlude. So we're going to do a different version of Cobra. So this version we're going to be tented on our fingertips with our arms kind of like a cactus arm, right? So same kind of sensation. You can set up like you would for your Cobra, lengthen out, and then draw your arms into cactus arms, and then just bring your fingertips down towards the floor. So you're staying nice and wide, and your hands are about in the same place where they would be if you were doing your normal Cobra, as far as like your thumbs are about in that same line from your chest. Right, so bring your forehead to the floor, and roll in slightly through your legs, lengthen back through your legs, press your pelvis a little forward and down. And then slowly start to bring your chest up, slowly start to bring your chin up. Keep pulling your shoulders a little down. And we're going to flow this. So just at your own pace. You need to adjust your hand position, you'll find where it feels right. Just kind of flowing up and flowing down. You can add the neck in the flow or not. Like we started off at the beginning of class, we're going to add on a little bit of movement through the sides, which might feel weird. So lower down and watch me do this first one. I'm going to go off of mat and come forward, which I think will give a little bit better view. So from this position, I'm going to come up, not the biggest back bend I've ever done in my life, and then I'm just going to do a little swaying right and left. Don't force anything at your neck. You should feel the muscles in your upper back, your shoulders working, for sure. This is not passive by any means, but it also, I think, to me, creates enough movement that it helps to organize things that are maybe a little overworked at the moment. So find your position again. Lift up. You can keep doing the coming up, going down, or adding a little bit of that swaying motion. Right and left. Just to feel like kind of inside of my shoulder blades. And drawing up and forward and down and back. And then relax all the way down. Bring your arms along the sides of your body. Feel any tension in your low back, you can wiggle your low back a little bit. And we're going to take a stretch for the quads. Bakasana, not Bakasana, but Bakasana. Left arm comes in front. Find the place that works for you so your left forearm is parallel to the top of your mat. and bring your right leg up. Right hand comes back to your right foot. If you can, you're going to kind of wrap around the big toe, rolling the elbow up. So kind of like what we were just doing before. A lot of movements like this throughout class. And then you can press the foot down towards the floor. Try to keep your pelvis even and flat towards the floor. So notice if you're rolling to the side to avoid it, you're probably forcing it. So find a place where you can keep your pelvis down. You feel a big stretch the front of your hip, front of your thigh, maybe in your arm. And then send that one back. We'll do the other side. So right forearm parallel to the front of your mat. Lift up enough that you can get the space. If you can't reach your foot, you probably need to bring your forearm back if you're way down here and can't get your foot or can't get much going on. Probably need to be a little closer to you in your hand placement. Left arm reaches back for left foot. And maybe you can kind of bring your thumb and your second finger around your big toe and then roll the fingertips over your toes so the elbow comes more up. And you can press the foot more forward and down. Should not be a strain at the knee. If there's any weird stuff happening at your knee, come out of this. Don't ever force anything there. But if this is, maybe you just noticed you're kind of rolling away from it, you can roll that sensation of pressing the front of your hip down into your mat and maybe deepen the stretch a little bit. And then release that. We'll take my absolute favorite shoulder stretch. So from here, lie down, right arm is going to come out to the side, left hand along the side of your chest. And I'm just going to bring my head down, roll, so I'm rolling onto my right shoulder, my right ear towards the floor. And you can take your left leg and kind of perch it over to help you. As much weight, as much pressure as you want on the shoulder. So if you don't need that much, you can stay and keep it passive or less active, right? If you need a lot, you can press more. Roll deeper. And then come back to center. And switch hands. Right hand along the side of your chest. Left arm goes out long. Head goes down, just rolling onto your ear. You can send that right leg back and kind of perch onto the toes. Give yourself as much or as little pressure as you need on this side. Some people need more. And you can kind of bring both legs up and get more of that twisting action. It's also a great spine twist, so find where you need it. And then come back to center. And we're going to do a little bow action. So bring your legs up. Press your hips down, reach your arms back, grab your feet. Relax your forehead to the floor. Try to press the front of your hips down into the floor. And then lift your chest. You can lift your knees or keep your thighs and your knees to the floor, whatever version of bow you like. Just allowing yourself to get a nice stretch through the front of your body. Let your shoulders roll back. If your thighs are not off the floor, move forward so your thighs come up off the floor. And then rock to the right. Head can come down just like the last one. Back to center, lift, and go left. I touch my big toes, that helps you keep your hips even. Not super important, but especially if you feel like your hips or your low spine are not even, that's a good way to adjust. Back up one more time, and then release down. Look left, arms on the sides of your body, another chance to roll a little bit through the hips. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to do here. No, that was it. Okay, so take a child's pose, stretch your hips back, bring your knees out wide, reach long up through your arms. And then look forward, come forward. You can tuck your toes, rock your hips up, walk your hands back towards your feet, and then however you want to get to the top of your mat. I said we weren't really going to do down dog or anything, but find your way up to the top of your mat. We're going to do one more round, kind of a similar flow to what we did before. We're going to add on, I think I should probably be facing forward, at least for this first part. So, for this first part, we'll start like we did before. Sit your hips low, and then come up into a chair. We're going to create some movement, which means it might be very challenging for your balance. So hands to the hips, perfectly fine. I actually was playing around with this before, and I found the cactus arms, and I felt it was kind of like the balance people that hold the, that hold the thing out, the pole out to the side as they walk across the tight rope. So if you want to try that, see if it works for you, you can. So first time, right leg's going to come up. Keep your left leg bent, soft to that left knee. Don't necessarily let this sit low. We're going to try to make a figure 8 with our right knee, and you're going to do it with your whole hips, right? So very sway motion. Trying to let everything go along. Mine looks okay on this side. Wait till you see it on the left side. Not so pretty. So if yours is choppy and weird, or you're falling all over the place, just like when we did the knee thing at the beginning of class, maybe this is something weird you practice. All right, and then somehow you're gonna find the center, squeeze everything back into the center, and take a quad stretch. This might mean both hands back to hold your foot, pull the heel towards your butt. If that's not a stretch at all, your right hand goes back, your left arm goes forward, pull your heel towards your butt, or if you want to try and you're close to this, you can roll the foot all the way up into your elbow, and left arm comes up for a version of a mermaid, standing mermaid. Wonderful quad stretch. And then come back out. And we'll step our right leg back, coming into the crescent lunge. Ooh. All right, so find your crescent lunge. Roll into your warrior 2. Sneak back into center here. Take your version of extended side angle, or you can do the version with your left fingertips reaching back. And I just noticed that's the first time I tried to do it from this weird like turning forward position, so it's not that way. You have to turn back towards your left thigh, left shin. And then we're going to come back up and take the eagle arms. This time we'll take the right arm and bring it underneath. So I think we kind of played a little bit with both. And then rolling the hip forward, rolling onto the big toe. Take yourself into your twist towards the left. Try to find your balance, left leg 90-degree angle. Open up your arms. Switch back so you guys can see me. We're going to play here, and that's what this is. Playtime. So as you reach through your arms, bring your back knee down to the floor. We're going to try with a bound side angle, which is something I have a hard time with. You have to be really close to get it, but even if you're not getting it, you can wrap your left arm behind, and if it feels good, you can take a half bound, right? Otherwise, from this knee on the floor, you might be able to finagle it more, and really, honestly, I use my other arm a lot. So what you need to do is get that full twist of your body over, so your, knee is all the way up towards this armpit. And then you can also, if you kind of sneak your arm underneath there and it's not going, oh, it did it today, you can use your left hand to guide it. So you just gotta pull that arm underneath. If you can get the fingers hooked, maybe you press up and straighten through your back leg, twisting your chest. And then if you're bound, come back down, release your bind, and stretch that hip back, because that's a lot. Take a quick little half splits. Instead of our standing splits, take a more restorative half splits on the floor. And then come forward, hands in front, step into your Malasana. We're going to do one other kind of weird thing. So we're going to do a flow, Malasana to baby crow. Sometimes it's called baby crow. I don't know if there's a better name for it. Baby crow is kind of a dumb name, but it's crow on your forearms, so you're barely above the floor. But I was doing this just earlier today. It just felt really good for me. It might be, I'm gonna walk back so you can see my arm position a little bit more. It might be really weird to get from here to your forearms to the floor. So just, again, you do it a couple times. As you do it, maybe it gets a little less clunky. So from your Malasana, basically I'm shifting forward, and so my arms are closer. I'm going to bring my forearms to the floor. I'm going to keep my knees all the way up where they are, like as high as I can towards my armpits and my shoulder. And so when my forearms go to the floor, you might need to find the perfect space, sneak a little forward, and you can just lift your toes. Baby girl. And then roll back and pop back up. Malasana. Tall again. Round. Sneak forward. Slide yourself in like you're going to do your guillotine. Tilt forward, hands to the floor, toes touch, pop up, Malasana. A couple more times, tall, curl in, arms forward, lift off, send it back, Malasana, 2 more. And 1 more. And then this next time in Malasana, we'll just take a little bit of a opening up, left arm up, press your right side body to open up wider, and the other side. And then bring your hands forward, lift your hips up, and just wag your tail a little bit, because that was a lot. Okay. You're now at the top of your mat. Find your way back to the top of your mat because we have to do at least part of that again. You have to do the left side. So, bend your knees, hips low, lift your chest. Cactus arms or whatever way worked for you. Keep your right leg bent. They don't have to stay super low. One leg. Try to find that figure 8 movement. So, both hips are moving. So really your core and or that side body connection is what's keeping you from falling over, even as you allow your hips to really get more open, more fluid movement. Whew. And the shin and the ankle just follow along. And then we'll hold at the center. And you can take both hands back for a quad stretch. You can take your left hand back, reach your right arm forward, quad stretch. Or if you are feeling it on this side, slide your foot up into your crook of your elbow. The higher up it goes, the better. And then right arm reaches back. Maybe you can get a little bind. Stretch the front of your hips. You're drawing your left knee more in than externally rotating. And if you're doing the arms like I'm doing, reach to your front of your right arm, underarm, as you press your left knee back, both at the same time. And then come back out, send back into your crescent. Lift up. Roll out to your warrior 2. Send yourself into your extended side angle again. You can't just turn the fingertips back from this way. You have to turn it inside. You're rolling inside towards your leg. And then come up. Left arm goes under for eagle arms. Bring your chest forward. Roll your hip forward. Make adjustments if you need to. Then roll onto your crescent. And come into your twist to the right. And bring your left knee down. You can reach and open your arms up wide. I've so far not yet been able to complete this on the right. My shoulder, this left shoulder is a lot tighter. So that's going to be part of this. You can't force this if the shoulder won't internally rotate enough to get your arm through. but also there's hips, right? There's lengthening. So you get what you can. But from here, from that position of reaching and lengthening and drawing your armpit up into your shoulder as much as you can, I'll show you the way to use your hand to get your arm as close as you can. So you're going to take your wrist and you're going to roll it up so the back of your hand is underneath your thigh. And then right arm goes around. Oh, you guys are so close, they're not yet touching. So find the place where you want to go, maybe forgetting the front arm completely and just doing a half bind. I'm staying tucked through my back toes from the side because it's so challenging for me, so I can stay a little bit more centered. If you have the full bind, you can straighten your back leg and lift up, or the half bind and get a little bit more twist again. Rolling the chest back. And then bring the leg down, frame the front foot. Oh, and take those half splits, reaching back through the toes, lengthening yourself out, squaring the hips off. Good news, we're not going to do the whole Bakasana thing again, or not baby curl thing again. So just bring your hands up. Just take one more Malasana here. Last Malasana of the practice. Lift up tall. And one more time, you can try reaching the arms out to the sides. So as you reach, drawing inwards through the side that's close to the thigh and long out through the other side. If you wanted to try a bind here, you could. It might be more accessible than a crazy twist. And then try the other side. Again, bind's not necessarily something you need, but if you wanted to try, maybe it works. And then come back to center and hands to the floor. Again, just wag your tail a little bit. And we're just going to take a couple things now to kind of chill out. So bring your knees down. So you're in that quadruped position again, just like how we started class. I'm going to take my left shin and roll it back, and my right leg out long. Right arm comes up, so you're in a modified version of plank pose. And then from here, however much feels good, you can kind of add a little sweeping back with your right arm. And then take one roll of your arm to sweep back. And we're going to do this right and left. So place your right hand down. Right knee comes down and the legs just kind of roll out and switch with each other. Left arm up, or you can do a whole sweep up and back. And then you can follow that and kind of make this a sweeping motion. So left hand comes down, my legs roll out, I sweep up, around my right arm, send it down, switch sides, just flowing right and left. And letting this be stretched all the way from the groin and through the inside of the extended thigh. Obviously the big movement through the shoulder. Just going to tap this into the upper body, moving at your own pace. You don't force anything with your neck. You can follow your arm with your eyes if it feels good. One more each direction. And then we'll come back to center, back to our quadruped, and slide the hands up towards your knees. Okay, we're just going to lower onto the back and do a couple of quick movements here. So from this position, arms along the sides of your body, we're going to do a bridge, but with some asymmetry. So first the heels right, behind your glutes. You can reach back and see if you can kind of grab, you're pretty close. Then pull the tail, so you're pulling your tail towards your heels, scoop and lift your body up. So from this position, I'm going to bring my arms into cactus arms so you can see better. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my right hip, and I'm going to lower my spine down as smoothly as I can, one vertebra at a time. So my right butt touches the floor, my left butt does not. And then I'm going to retrace that back up and back up to square. Then I'm going to lower my left butt, kind of like wagging the tail, lower down that side and back up. And I'm just going to do that right and left. So you always have one hip that's a little higher than the other one. And I'm helping balance things out in the spine. Giving yourself a little stretch more through the top of the one hip at a time. You can keep your arms along the sides of your body. I just wanted to make sure you could see what I was doing. But if that cactus arm position feels good, that's totally fine here too. And really try to lower down one vertebra at a time and really control that movement. One more time each side. And then hold it up. Feel like you're hugging a block in between your knees. Maybe roll your shoulders a little bit more underneath you. And just slide it down. Bring your right leg over your left leg. Arms along the sides of your body. Lift your legs up. And just take some little circles with your knees. Just releasing the low back to the floor. Massaging the low back even. Slight activity in the belly here, but this shouldn't be too intense. And then hold in the center. You can bring your arms out wide or cactus arms. Left foot comes down. Scoot your left foot a little over towards the right as you bring your right knee towards the floor. That'll help you actually get more twist in your upper body. You can look over your right shoulder if that feels good. And then come back up to the center. And switch your legs, left leg on top. Again, first you can do that little circular movement, kind of massaging the low spine on the floor, a little activity in the low belly. And then we'll hold at the center and put the right foot to the floor. Scoot the right foot a little over to the left as you drop your left leg over to the right. And an option to look over your left shoulder. And then come back to center. Bring the feet as wide as your mat. Maybe lift up and get longer through your tail. And draw your knees towards each other. Arms just resting along the sides of your body. You might need to just find the perfect spot for you. This can be a very restful position. So finding where you need, you can scoot your feet a little bit forward or in or out until you feel like this is completely restful. And you can stay here for a Savasana. You can come into the Baddha Konasana, Savasana, or just letting the legs go wide. Relax onto your mat. Close your eyes, roll the shoulders, shoulder blades a little bit more underneath you. Let your ribcage expand, and then relax and feel like you're drawing in towards your mat. And stay for as long as you need.